ban out one of the power picks. Kind of peculiar with the Morgana ban. Maybe GODFRED has been playing just a lot of Morgana support even on this patch still.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, that's what everyone remembered from last year,
Yep.
but maybe they're just trying to bank on the fact that they don't want to have to deal with a power pick or a pocket pick rather, and Giants are sticking much more to the formula.
I like the Poppy ban because I feel that's like a pick that could tilt Forgiven. Like the greatest AD carry player who is fantastic at juking. Like he's one of the best reactively juking players, maybe even in the world. Can't juke if your gap closer gets cancelled by Poppy W. So
That's true.
Removing the tilt factor from Forgiven. And for the rest, Giants looking to fill out pretty standard bans.
Yeah, Lissandra will be taken off the board too, so no mind game flex picks on that one. The last ban, there's still quite a lot available here in the power pick department.
Yeah, Fiora, Ryze is there, maybe even Lucian now that MF has been nerfed significantly.
Yeah.
Kindred was obviously still there, she gets banned out, so now the blue team here, H2K, they can start looking, maybe we want a power pick in the jungle, maybe a strong support.
First pick Trundle, I mean that's bold. You know, we knew Forgiven is the big Lucian player. There are several, but he has been the biggest one. And maybe it's not really first pick worthy, but you got to expect if Giants don't answer this, if they don't take it for Adryh, it's going to go into his hands.
Yeah, I really like the Trundle Lucian lane overall as well. Forgiven can always dash in, then you have the pillar blocking, setting up for really good trades. Just a strong laning support here that in the end is still a flex pick that can counter some of these tank top laners because there was a lot of talk about going double carry, single tank top. Well, Trundle can be an answer to that.
Yeah, so Cool will go for a very, very standard jungle pickup in the Rek'Sai. And now we have that flex pick Ryze. We have seen it top. Definitely could see it mid. And we'll see if it does, well, where it ends up going. But they've got time for this one. And then, you know, the Elise is still a very powerful choice. Jankos, oftentimes called the First Blood King, known for that Lee Sin. But Elise is a very powerful pickup in his hands as well. In most junglers, but especially his.
Forgiven. Looking to lock in the Corki here, tribute to Gambit, where he is pretty much put on Corki duty all the time instead of playing the more fabled hard carries. First I'll pick really big power spike on level 6. It could still be Corki mid 2. Faker played it, so therefore Rio could easily, always known as the other one, you know, the other Zed, maybe he becomes the other Corki. Who knows?
Well, we'll have to wait on that one, but we do have a Graves pickup, which of course we've been seeing as a very strong jungle choice. Although even the last year, Forgiven was known to play that as well. But I do think that's where it's heading. The Corki, we still don't know. We could be in for a triple AD carry comp.
Yeah, it has to go into the jungle, and that kind of makes more sense with the Corki pick, because Corki obviously adds another layer of magic damage. So you don't go pure double AD carry if you go for the Graves jungle. That's probably why they opted for the Corki. I'm a big fan of Graves jungle. Not as big of a fan as Deficio. I'm more just maybe like a mini fan, but I think it's an incredibly strong pick.
I think you're definitely right, but you definitely have to use it very early on. We know Jankos is very good at getting this early pressure in there. Now that means the answer, they may take the AD carry for themselves. The Braum Lucian lane, if that gets locked in, and it does, is a good old mainstay. Yeah, very powerful together.
Yeah, really, really good combo, mostly because it's so easy to stack the Braum passive with a gap closing AD carry, but more importantly, the Braum shield will be fundamental in the Steam comp to block a lot of damage. You can soak up rockets, and more importantly, you can deny the entire damage output from the Graves. So we'll have to keep our eyes on GODFRED if he can use that to peel. Already decent peel here from Giants though. Rek'Sai and Braum together should be enough of a front line to allow more carries to operate in the back lines. They'll need some time to get that Ryze scaling. Hopefully it gets put in the mid lane. Not the biggest fan of Ryze top because it's very vulnerable to ganks.
Well, what are they going to add in there? That's a real question. Again, we haven't seen Adam. And you know, you got to look at this other side of H2K in the top lane. Odoamne with Hoonigan, arguably one of the strongest top laners left. I mean, you can say Cabochard's up there as well, Soaz of course, but Odoamne is somebody that you really can't overlook. He can definitely step up and do big things, especially on low resources.
So no Corki mid, Corki AD carry, Ahri locked in the mid, and then still a double flex opportunity here. Shen can go both support and top, so if a super tank gets locked in for the top lane, Trundle can actually be swapped to the top and Shen support can still work more than fine. So definitely a good drafting phase here from H2K with enough mid-game power, and that's really what you want to be in this meta game. Just mid-game power is what you're aiming for, because that's where you can really break open the map. At the other side, Giants is still flexing that Ryze around, so they're deciding whether it goes mid or top.
And they know that what they'll have to deal with against. Will Adam be enabled with this Ryze pickup, or will Pepinero, or xPePii, as he's now being called, be the one to take that? And what do they answer with? They don't want to pick a super tanky top for those stat stealing, but And they have plenty of, they really do have plenty of fun, like you
They need
said.
more damage. Yeah, they definitely need some more damage. So we're looking at some mid laners here. Maybe a Frost Queen's Clay, a LeBlanc could technically come out. Kind of hard to play LeBlanc to Shen though. Definitely wasn't thinking about Kennen.
No.
Maybe it's not
It's usually not on everybody's minds, but if they do take that, that should go to the top. It is locked, and it's all to see if that's what they go with.
So range their ass into the Shen, could bully him out of the lane. So early gank coming out for Adam could definitely do some bad things to H2K here. So if they can get Adam snowballing, it's a good thing because he can bully out the Shen. If they leave him alone, he still adds a lot of teamfight power. So Giants definitely looking for a teamfight composition. Braum incredibly strong, Rek'Sai has good peel. They have a wealth of crowd control effects that then the Ryze can operate in the middle.
Yeah, this is definitely a solid composition for Giants. It could be a strong lane in the top lane. It's definitely a strong lane in the bottom. Obviously, xPePii has dealt with a lot of really wonky and lopsided matchups in the past, and he's tended to be the one that comes out on top and carries, but he can also be a bit of a wild man, going in too deep, and Ryu knows how to take advantage of situations like that. And on Ahri, you know, he had a couple of beast games last year. Probably was very outspoken, saying Ryu is the hidden carry, the one that no one expects to step up and just deliver the pain.
Yeah, looking at some interesting gank opportunities here, but we'll get into that later. Coaches shake hands, and we're ready to load onto the Rift.
Oh, yes, indeed we are. And you can see Ryu's already going to be looking to go very aggressive. It's the way the Ahri does it, but we want to know what you guys have to say. Why don't you go ahead and hit us up on Twitter, hashtag H2KWin or hashtag GIA win, as we get ready to load up into our third game of the day. Action starting hot and heavy, and you guys at home, we want to hear from you, so why don't you let us know. As we get ready to start it up, Giants, H2K on the board. Let's get going.
So yeah, the junglers will be very important this game. If Ku can find an opening, snowball a lane, because the combination of some snare from Ryze and then an instant flash knockup from Pepinero, or xPePii as he's called right now, could be enough to kill Ryu. As opposed to Jankos, he's just bringing a lot of damage to these lanes, so you'll need the laners to provide the crowd control effect themselves.
And they definitely have a lot to go on. You know, Ryu's got the charm, Odoamne's got the dash. If they start doubling up early and making big plays, taking advantage of that pre-level 6 teleport, the summoner spell one that is, they can definitely bring the pain to Giants, who are starting to step a little bit forward. They have instigated this lane swap, or at least part of one. Adryh's up in the top
Very
side,
dangerous.
but GODFRED's in the bottom. Forgiven is going to check into some pain.
I think.
He is going to get flashed away, rather. xPePii pops his ghost, maybe a little bit too late, and Forgiven will make it out.
xPePii started snare. You should never start snare if a Braum is stacking passives, and more importantly, should not do it until after the Braum passive gets procced, because yeah, this is going to be a rough laning phase. Pepinero starting with a snare right now. Ryu should have actually the ability to bully that right now. And something we want to talk about now that the flash is down and the heal on Forgiven, it may prompt a reaction in the bot lane from GODFRED and Adryh if they actually end up laning 2v2. But we're looking at a weird swap. That's something you can do against an inexperienced team like Giants is, yeah,
There we
lane
go.
swap, but they're initiating it themselves. That's actually peculiar. Putting Adam on a range harass champion and then initiating the lane swap yourself, forcing the lane swap with a solo queue top laner, I'm not sure if that's the right approach for Giants.
Yeah, this is definitely really curious. Forgiven and Vander on the bottom side will go ahead and grab the Krugs early on, and they can get back without any worry of losing the farm. Jankos hanging on the bottom side to start this thing off, but I don't know if Giants are looking for the lane swap preemptively and trying to
The only thing that makes
preempt it or
sense,
what?
the only thing that makes sense is that because Forgiven lost his summoners and he has a tough matchup against him, Giants thought that H2K would default to a lane swap in the top lane even more, but right now, Forgiven losing the heal and the flash actually does not matter. So he doesn't get any impact because he'll be farming for the majority of the early game. However, xPePii does lose the impact from using the Ghost and starting with the W early in the lane.
Yeah, so Ryu shouldn't have too much trouble there. Not much of a CS lead, but obviously they've just gotten in there, and we can already see that there is a bit of a roam going on. Odoamne looking to maybe try for a fast push with the help of Vander. Since there's no one here to stop this, this should be one of those good old 3v or 4v0s.
Yeah, you even want to speed up the 3v0 even more because the way the jungle experience got changed. Right now, junglers, they still get full experience from the camps, but laners not so much. So an extended double jungle where you're sharing is just less efficient. So the quicker you can get your top laner in that 3-man scenario and you can bounce that wave back, that's what you want right there.
Sad Jankos.
Experiencing some difficulties here with the patience bar on the go.
There we go. Gets it that time. So because H2K started this one a lot sooner, Giants took a little bit more time. They should be able to finish it up faster, but it's still relatively even. And the question is then, do they go back and reset after the fact, or do they just keep pushing their luck? I feel like a team like Giants might just do that.
Yeah, definitely want to push in, reset, bounce the wave to your top laner, get him ahead, and then equal out. What we've seen in the LCK over in Korea is that the lane swap starts like this. Teams swap around to the other side. Both towers, tier 1, go down on each side of the map. And then a very slow mid-game starts where teams are struggling to get anything done. LCK analysts predict that to happen every game. I think the next step then is really deep vision. And maybe H2K can generate that and start opening up the map that way. I do think Giants will struggle if that scenario actually comes to play.
Yeah, especially considering H2K have all the tools for a really ridiculous mid-game team. If they can get off on the right foot and not get set too far behind and into a really stale situation, as Ryu doesn't know what's coming for him. Ku comes in, but he's out. Lands the charm too onto xPePii. Nice.
Yeah, and definitely Ryu knows what to expect here. If you look at the bottom lane and the top lane, there's no way a jungler is going to interact with any of these lanes, so the only place ganks can happen is in the mid lane. If then Pepinero or xPePii starts playing up a little farther ahead, Ryu basically smells the gank.
Yeah, pretty easily. And there's a lot of escapes that they have too. Even though Ryu's only level 4, once he hits 6, that's not going to be as much of an issue as long as he hangs on to his ultimate, unless he goes right for Pepi's face. And still fairly even as he pushes the wave forward himself. We start to see some semblance of normalcy. Just your basic lane swap, nothing else to see here with a couple of towers pushed early. 4.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, look at Jankos. He's going to assist his bottom lane, which is now top lane, to really zone off Adam off that tower. Adam level 3 on the Kennen with teleport. And Dorn's Blade, incredibly stunted build path. So Giants opting for this lane swap puts them pretty far behind.
Yeah, this could definitely not turn out too well for them, but now we've got a 2v0 in both sides. A bigger wave for Giants, but they definitely took a little longer to get there. You can also see Jankos working his way through the Giants' topside jungle, so teams are just trading back and forth right now, giving each other a sort of gentleman's agreement as Odoamne comes and joins the top side.
One thing that does work for Giants though, is these accelerated gold gains from these turrets going down does help Pepinero get to his items quicker, and he obviously wants to scale as quickly as he can.
Yeah, that'll definitely help out Pepinero, but again, H2K, if they can group up after these outer towers are gone and they can start forcing things, they have the tools. Once they hit the power spikes, it's not quite mid-game yet, to be able to get some serious damage on the Giants and shut the Ryze down early.
No, that's a very good point, Pyra, because if you put the Graves and the Corki and the Ahri together in the mid lane, combine that with a zone that comes from a Trundle pillar, it will be incredibly hard for the Giants lineup to wave clear. The only reliable wave clear that they have is Lucian Sculling on level 6. Other than that, Ryze will actually be out of position trying to clear those waves, so the siege that H2K have on that third middle tower that will eventually open up the map will be incredibly hard to deal with for the Giants.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the emphasis now that the outers are all gone should be placed in that middle side. A lot of towers taken early on with the pushes back and forth. Jankos is already motioning up towards that side of the river, trying to get the wards in for himself too.
Yeah, they're setting up the wards right now. We're not quite there yet. Obviously, we need the rockets on the Corki. We need the level 6 on the Graves. We need the threat of an instant burst. And then obviously we need the flank squad because Giants' response will be an immediate engage, Kennen flank TP, Ku flash knockup, snares, concussive blows. That's the things you're looking for from the side of Giants.
They're still stacking pretty heavily on the bottom side. Vander and Jankos hanging out and just continuing to own this jungle. Ku has been focused more on trying to catch Ryu out, but now that he's got Spirit Rush available, he's going to immediately use it. Dashing sideways, they've got the teleport. Maybe he looks to turn onto Pepi. GODFRED is there. Oh no, maybe didn't want to complete this one, but he gets a double taunt off nonetheless, and another teleport comes in. This time from Adam, everyone backs away, but 2 TPs spent on both sides.
Yeah, normally if you get that level 6 mid laner action going on, the top laner joins in on level 6 as well, but Odoamne, the level 4, instantly has to flash out. Good reaction from Ryu though. Dodges. He had to immediately use ulti, otherwise the flash knockup could have been a one combo exchange right there.
Much lower cooldown though than that teleport, so he won't have too bad of a time of it. You can see Adryh pushing in on the top side versus Odo as he gets back to that point. Ryu perfectly fine in this mid lane. He's going to be so hard to gank. This guy's reaction times is just super crazy. And Ku, well, we don't really know how he's going to perform. That's what we talked about. He is one of the big question marks. This is his first LCS start. He's played in challenger teams galore, but this is the big stage.
Right now, Adryh is pushing in the top lane, dueling Odoamne. This lane swap has successfully hit Adryh though, one of the weaker members on Giants. Many even question why he is still on the roster, as he was one of the worst AD carries in spring and summer. So, didn't have to lane against the Forgiven God, so that's good. He's even on CS, they're even just like 9 CS behind, which technically is ahead against Forgiven.
Yeah,
Counting.
yeah, you're close enough. But I mean, still, it's still worrying if you take a champion that is lane bully like Lucian and you then don't want to opt for the lane. Now you can see Forgiven is already looking to try for that duel. He's picked the package up and he has set
Yeah, he's trying to find
that guy
Adryh.
in his sights. There
You
we
see,
go.
immediately when he picks up the package, it actually plays a global sound and slightly reveals Corki for a minute, like a miniature amount of time, like a second or something.
Haven't you?
Yeah, I've played against a lot of Corkis and then gotten owned when I don't look at my minimap. So when they base, always look at your minimap because he reveals for like 1 second, and then you gotta run away because package will just literally own you. So good pinging there, good awareness from Giants right now. The gold's still even, and their vision's actually slightly better. They put 3 ping ports down. In their own jungle though, they should be slightly farther up. That's what I really pink wards, you need to use them. They're so valuable. Only 75 gold. They lost for an incredible amount of time. All they need to do to equal a normal ward is last 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and you easily get that value out of a pink ward.
Yeah, and H2K have got quite a lot of wards themselves, including that pink that Ku should spot, but he's not going since he sees the blue already taken away. Jankos has pretty much had his way with the Giants jungle so far this game. You can see that they are trying to keep that vision hot so they know exactly where both he and GODFRED are at this point. H2K can now have a little bit more free reign on the map, and as you see, definitely a little more faith being placed on the H2K side, but about 40% of fans saying Giants are going to win this game.
A lot of fans rooting for Giants here. Blue hand up to Ryu. Yeah, slow early game. That's what we expected when a lane swap happens. It's almost a gentleman's agreement. It's very hard to break the mold because the successful play patterns, you see Ahri a little stuck here behind the pillar, are just taking down tower, swapping around, taking down the other tower, and then it becomes a vision game, which is slower. It's a beautiful game, but not as much blood.
Speaking of slow, Jankos doing his best to clear the pink ward away. Reload. There we go. And a lot of Giants members now sticking around on the bottom side, or at least 2, I should say. 3. Adam is there along with GODFRED and Ku. They're going to see if they can bait Odoamne, but he's been very smart about saving his taunts. If he needs to escape or if he can bait 3 under the tower, he can definitely get some serious damage done. This game is accelerated so fast, which means you can't necessarily dive that early on. Now Jankos and Rio could be in a bit of trouble, but they catch Ku on a charm. GODFRED unbreakables, and they'll back away.
Giants realize that H2K is about to set up for the siege. Look at Forgiven pushing top lane. He's rotating down the mid lane. You'll have Jankos, Forgiven, and Rio triple range with some catch. Pushing into xPePii's Ryze. So can Giants hold off this siege? Can they block the siege? Because this tower is under massive pressure.
500 gold lead for H2K. They look to extend it a little bit further. Charm gets narrowly dodged by xPePii. They can't quite finish this one off just yet, but they do have the tools to get away. Traffic cone is up. Jankos is here now, sending out the Foxfire. Ryu just trying to keep the poke going. Another charm is dodged. But if they keep doing this and there's no response from Giants, they can get this tower sooner or later.
Yeah, and Odoamne right now, he has Stand United available, so he can just comfortably freeze or soul push the bottom wave. There's a very slow response from Adryh. He's not pushing out top for some reason. He's taking his time with that wave. That means H2K has all the time in the world to land Charm, maybe even burst Ku.
Not quite enough damage, but Jankos is certainly getting there. That will mean they can polish off the tower, get themselves in a much more comfortable lead. And yeah, Adryh is just not a part of this. He's down still about 16 CS. He's having to take some more junk. Well, rather, he's having to continue to stay up on the top side. Odoamne, meanwhile, is free pushing in the bottom, but he's got the double teleport available. That's the difference, and H2K are making much better use of their tools this game.
Yeah, and Giants, they just open up Pandora's box by letting that mid lane and tower fall for free because right now, H2K have the liberty to invade any side of the jungle, put deep wards, and then start picking them off, even securing potential dragon if Giants don't sneak it right now.
They're going to try. Adam and Ku are there. Vander should know, but they know he's there thanks to that ward that he just clears off the board. Half the tower, or half the dragon rather, is taken down. They might just give this one away. It's not too big of a deal to give up first dragon because you know you can take another. It's never going to come down to that 5th situation. So Giants do successfully sneak that. Good move by them, but they've still got some catching up to do.
And yeah, Odoamne said it in the interview, 15 games they've played, give or take, with the lineup. So a lot of working to do, but they already have a good framework to operate within. They have Odoamne, who's an experienced player. They have Jankos and Vander, who have that jungle support synergy from in Rocket from last year. Not the best mid-game, warding-wise from them, but at least they have some experience. Contrast that with Ku, who's coming in fresh in the LCS here. Has to work with GODFRED, who didn't really have that synergy either last year with Frederick.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit more rebuilding for Giants side. H2K seem to have the synergy locked up. And you know, you got to think for these former Rocket members, Jankos and Vander, it's not the first time they've worn H2K either. If you go back to 2013, there was that 3-month stint. I believe they won DreamHack Bucharest. way back in the day, but they still got him in the closet.
I don't have that backlog,
back.
man. I was just playing League of Legends back then. I wasn't paying attention.
That's okay, Crepo. You got the game knowledge. I can't do it.
You got the statistics?
Oh yeah. Oh, well, no, Spellsy's got the statistics, but he feeds them to me. So more push on this bottom side. Tier 2 now. They can keep stacking up like this, and they're starting to get to these dangerous power zones. One more item component away from the Trinity Force for the Corki, and you know how ham Forgiven can get when he feels powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And just like you were talking about how they would take down the middle lane tower earlier, they're doing the same thing right now. Push the side lane, get some of the Giants members there frantically trying to clear that wave. Once they're in that position, walk away. Move to another lane. Siege that tower. Once they're there, walk away again, because H2K, they have ranged advantage, they have poke, and as long as they don't get flanked and hard engaged upon, they will just siege every single tower down in this mid game.
And what is Adam doing on this Kennen right now? What is Adryh doing with this Lucian? The power spikes that they have, what they were able to do in the early game, didn't happen because of those fast pushes. They haven't responded well. They've just been trying to catch up in farm, but they're falling behind their counterparts.
Yeah, and Adryh's also stuck on the economy build here. Callflew's Warhammer and the Coco Agility. Jankos will expand on that. Gets caught a little bit.
He's gonna flash. He doesn't dash. Looks like he spent it already, but Odoamne's there. The Rift Herald is starting to beat on him, but Giants are in hot pursuit right now if they can get the catch, but there are a few more dashes, and now they've let him on a wild goose chase, which means that Ryu can start pushing in the bottom side. Forgiven's going to join them. They've got so much going for them as long as they don't lose anything.
Yeah, action means reaction. If they go for the hard engage, they go for the pick Giants. That's all they can do, try and kill people. But H2K, they're playing the macro game, and that is something they were known for as a team last year already. You got to look at Prawley for that. This is one of the saving graces for the organization as a whole. They have this wealth of talent that hasn't always played the best macro game, but as an organization, they can mold these players in very great tactical players in addition to the mechanical prowess that they bring to the table. That is why many hail them as a super team.
Absolutely, and last year they were very quiet about that too. They had a lot of success, but they didn't generate a lot of hype because of that more macro-oriented playstyle that they eventually got to. But now they're coming in, they're such a hyped-up team. Everyone expects them second, third, maybe even first place. And they're showing that they're not missing a beat here against this Giant squad.
Yeah, look at the power spikes. Abyssal for the early safety picked up by Ryu. He knows he doesn't have to go for any fancy picks, for any Frost Queen's Rush, because they can play the map. All he needs to do is survive, so if he gets caught, he has a little bit of an advantage, or if he catches xPePii out from a brush, he can burst him with all that penetration. Once he gets Frost Queens finished, it's going to get even more dirty or disgusting, because once the Giants are starting to rotate between the lanes to match that siege, Frost Queen's claim comes out, slows them, and that's when they get picked off. So really, a lot of control exerted here from H2K, and very little counterplay from Giants. All their moves are incredibly scripted and honestly obvious. So as long as H2K keeps up the vision, it's incredibly hard for Giants to find an opening.
Well, you know, we don't allow scripting here, so Giants could be in a lot of trouble. At the moment, you're welcome. At the moment, they really need Adam to try for a flank, but they don't have enough deep vision to pull this off. They don't have any speed boost really outside of the Kennen. I mean, this is the issue. It seems like their comp, yeah, you said it, they're very linear in what they can do.
Yeah, Adam now finished his Zonias though. He's looking for a teleport flank. That's what he wants. Ooh, good pillar by Vander.
Yeah, very nicely done. Forces that summoner spell away. Adryh will have a much harder time here. And again, they can keep pushing. Now, there's a teleport coming in. That's the flank, but Adam, he's going around the backside. They may be able to catch Jankos. They do get the stun off. He's exhausted. Throws the Zonias. That's the start. First blood. It's 16.5 minutes into the game, but Giants secure it. Odo comes in. They want revenge on the side of H2K. Ku running distraction duty, but he might sacrifice himself. Will it be a 1-for-2? It looks like it. Giants started it off, but they lost more than they got.
Yeah, very forced opportunity here. Adam lands, flashes one direction, and then uses his lightning rush to go one other direction. They get one pick, but they used all the bullets right there. Odoamne comes in, beautiful tower flash, and then H2K, they take another tower. Just look at how easy it goes. Whereas opposed earlier, Giants, they were trying to siege, minions just disappeared immediately. Forgiven, waved through that with one rocket, one Q, and they were gone.
Take a look at how that happened again. All started with the burnt flash by Adryh, and then all of a sudden, Adam has the brilliant idea
to teleport. No home guards yet. He's still up tier 1. He's going to go back in the lane, I think, trying to chase Forgiven who flashes. Then decides otherwise, goes to the top side. Good exhaust. GODFRED's already melted. Ryu gets exhausted, but none of his damage gets really denied. And with it, Taunt Flash onto Adryh. Good target calling. And Pepinera's chasing the support right there. Overall, just chaos from the Giants. This play could have been set up more elaborately, better, just more structured, but it was a panic play. And you can definitely tell that some of these members are new to the LCS.
Absolutely, and they've definitely got a lot of time on their hands. This is only week 1 and only the very first day, so it's really a test run for Adam and Ku, but the whole team does need to get it together. Again, they are against a very tough squad of H2K, but for the time being, they're down 3K, they're down 3 towers comparatively. Jankos is just running right into XPePii, and that's not a great thing if you're Ryze, as an AD carry running into you. Spent the calling to try and clear the wave here.
Yeah.
They've still got enough damage to chunk it out significantly. Another excellent pillar from the Trundle just to keep the interrupts going. Meanwhile, Odoamne is completely uncontested in mid.
Yeah, H2K have the option to rotate to NLA, and they're probably going to stay top here. Calling and Ryze are the only amounts of slightly reliable wave clear here for Given just sieging away. And look how H2K is not opting in for any fights. And even though they are likely mechanically better in every single role, they could destroy these players in duels. They go for a very siege-heavy, calculated approach. Epinero
Just like that.
tries to defend, but he just gets picked off. And I like the way H2K is playing this game from a macro point of view, and also what it means for progression later in this split, because they can beat up this team likely just by pure mechanical skill, but they opt for a very strategic approach.
Hopefully not show too much of their hand, but they have definitely built a comp and utilized it extremely well. We talked about the mid-game power spike. They have been rocking and rolling with it. As I just pointed out, that Frost Queen Sling completed on Ryu. And of course, look at a little bit more defensive build from Jankos. He's got the Hex Drinker just to prevent the AP damage that does exist. They're not worried about Adryh at all. To be honest, they shouldn't be. Yeah,
Adryh is the first one to get blown up in the fight, and then Jankos with the Hex Drinker, deceptively tanky there against Adam and XPePii on the double AP composition.
Yeah, and you know, they've also got their locket completed too for Vander, so they have a lot of MR available to them, and they've also got the extra shield in case someone does get popped on. It's close to 20 minutes. As you see, the Baron will be available, but H2K are likely not going to need this as they just continue on their trajectory to just keep pushing Giants further and further back, winning the war of attrition. They can take this game home easy.
Yeah, they can follow the same playbook they have been doing the entire game and then choose. They have they can choose which towers to siege. If they find it a little difficult, they can pick up the Baron buff. They can pick up the first Dragon buff as well, 6%. Both damages is definitely worth spending some time doing that. Trinket-wise, 4 blue trinkets. We saw Fnatic, once they got ahead, actually opting for all the yellow trinkets because they lost power and they don't get revealed. Perhaps actually a wiser choice if you do control the map. You don't really need to safety check brushes with the blue wards if you just move as a pack and rotate in between the lanes once all the members are revealed.
Yeah. It's definitely an option for them, but they're playing it about as safe as they possibly can right now. But there are just so many wards already scattered throughout the Giants jungle. That bottom side had always been lit up throughout this game, but Giants' warding area is pretty much limited to their own red buff and a few river entrances. They don't have a lot of vision, they don't have a lot of information, and that makes it so much harder for them to try and make these comeback plays like they did with Adam.
They can still make some picks though, because there's very limited amount of wards overall on H2K side. 3 sidestone wards, no pink wards in the inventory except on Ryu right now, and no yellow trinkets. So if the blue wards gets cleaned out, then Giants can still make some picks, and that's what they're hoping for. Somebody to get greedy, somebody to overextend.
Yeah, wait on that Ryze, keep on buying your time as much as you can, set up a good flank with Adam. As long as H2K don't get cocky though, that's going to be so hard. That opportunity is just not going to come along, and meanwhile the gold gap just keeps on widening. H2K 6K up, or roughly that, to Giants right now, only 31,000 gold in their pockets. Spooky Ghosts come out, GODFRED's going to get spotted right as he recalls.
Safety check by Ryu, how many people are here? 2 ghosts go out that way, there's likely not too many people here. Charming the rush, a lot of respect here from H2K.
Yeah, they're playing the safe game out and feeling this one out to begin with. Giants Gaming, for their hand, you know, they have managed to get a little bit in this game. They haven't been completely shut down. We saw that they're willing to make these plays, but it is so scattered. If they can sync up their synergy, though, we could see a very different team by the end of this split.
Yeah. Giants here going for a Hail Mary, trying to pick somebody off, but H2K is comfortably playing passive because look at the bot lane. Odoamne pushing yet again.
Continuing to do what he does best. Odo, he's often functioned on low resources, but this game he just really hasn't had to do all that much as Jankos goes in really quick. That might have been a mistake, but in comes Odo for the defense. They've got so many shields on that Graves, and now Ku is caught. Forgiven says mine, and he takes himself a kill.
Yeah, special delivery, kill steal. Forgiven with the package. Love it. The new addition to Corki makes him a very strong champion. XPePii narrow in the brush.
Not good, but nothing doing. Ryu's gonna take him down this time. A little help from collateral damage of Jankos. Adam had the TP, did not use it. Baron is on the table, but not for long. GODFRED's the only man in the area. Adam's just farming down bottom lane. H2K have got this all locked up, and they just need to put a bow on it.
Yeah, Giants are grinding right now. There's so little counterplay, and the only counterplay is incredibly obvious moves that a team like H2K with good communication just immediately thwart.
Outer mid still standing. Adryh was able to get a little bit more damage onto it for his trouble, but with a pretty much free Baron after the take on xPePii and on Ku, H2K are sitting very pretty right now. An 8,000 gold lead. It's 23 minutes in. They still are on a massive spike for themselves. And Giants, even if they get the perfect flank, I'm not sure it's going to work at this point.
Yeah, it is too little too late. So all we can really do is judge H2K on the quality of their execution of Giants really here. What are they going to do? Obviously, splitting becomes even more efficient with that new Baron buff, or with the Baron buff in general. Look at how much of a hard time xPePii has cleaning that wave with his ultimate on. So definitely rough time here. 1-3-1 split push. Ryu in the bottom, setting up some defensive wards. No overreaching. And then, yeah, slow and steady end of Giants here.
Yeah. We have become the post-game grading system for all intents and purposes. Odoamne using his Baron buff just to keep that Kennen mini alive, pushing out on the top, Forgiven. Vander pushing out in the middle. Giants have pretty much centered their defense there, but it's going to be not too long before the nut starts cracking. You see Ryu on the bottom side. He hasn't had any really ridiculous, wicked solo executions, but he hasn't had to. They've just stuck together. They've been able to outplay Giants on every level imaginable.
Yeah, this what becomes like the accordion split push, where one side moves in, the other side moves on, but out. You're never fighting them, but you're just putting pressure, and until one side messes up, you kill them, take the tower.
Or just start to shove it in even further. That wave clear is absolutely ridiculous. The tower is extremely low. In comes Adam. He manages to get the stun up on Vander, flashes in, and he throws the Zhonya's, but they're already out of harm's way. Adam is already incredibly low, so squishy. In comes Ryu, looks for the assassin. Forgiven's gonna take it, and all 5 members of H2K are right there, looking for the counterplay, just like you said.
Yeah, immediately disengaged. Adam tries for a panic attack. Probably the best option Giants had right there. Just not enough damage right now. Odoamne tanks the tower. Take down the inhib. Look at top. Look at bottom. Inhib's dropping left, right, and center.
25 minutes is all the time we've had on the clock, but Giants just never could get it going this game. Nothing but Nexus turrets left, if you don't count the top lane, and it looks like H2K definitely don't mind. One is fallen down. Giants are in full retreat, but they've got nowhere to go, and xPePii is all the way back to Fountain. GODFRED says unbreakable, but it looks like the team is. Odo manages to just barely stay alive. The last Nexus turret is down. Giants are back to their Fountain. This one is all over, and H2K are making a huge statement to start this one off. They might take a little more time to do it, though.
Yeah, very slow. Odoamne base teleport that can gets the kill. Nexus blows. Giants go down. H2K with the first win of the season. Not too much excitement because it was pretty textbook.
Good execution.
Yeah, it just shows you.
How do you grade them?
8 out of 8. But yeah,
excellent job, man.
Great, yeah, great bait. Just overall, it just shows you how strong split pushing is and how much a composition without sufficient wave clear can get abused, even if you fall slightly behind. Like the only wave clear they had was Lucian calling and then the Ryze. Adam went for a solo queue picking the Kennen, and he got incredibly neutralized by the lane swap. I think Giants shot themselves in the foot majorly by opting for that lane swap. So we'll have to figure out. Maybe they'll come out on social media. I hope maybe answer the question: why did you lane swap? Was it mistakenly predicted lane swap? Because that could make sense. There was merit for H2K to actually initiate the lane swap themselves, especially if you consider that Forgiven lost his heal and his flash on level 1. But H2K didn't care. They still opted to go with 2 buff.
He was this close to being killed in the opening seconds of his first game. You remember last season rather, in the spring when he was completely unkillable. Well, it starts off he is now. 6-0-3, 100% kill participation to start things off. Even when he just jumped in to steal the kill, he made sure he had that score. So if you've got him on your fantasy team, good job.
Yeah, definitely good job for drafting Forgiven there. And yeah, this game could have been entirely different if he drops there, because imagine Adryh gets damage spike, goes bot anyways, plays double Dorans into a summoner less Forgiven. Suddenly you get an entirely different game. That lack of wave clear doesn't get abused because you have winning matchups everywhere. Maybe Ryze gets an extra experience boost from getting that kill. That means he levels up on the first wave. He can then in turn play aggressive. So much can change with 1 kill in the early game. That's why you never face take a brush level 1 in solo queue. Just play passive. Don't do that, kids. Don't make your support